Asheville, North Carolina, in the heart of winter. Night falls fast here, swallowing the blue mountains in a gray hush. And tonight, the cold feels sharp enough to break glass.
Thunder!
Main Street is
Thunder!
almost empty.
Where are you?
Shops shuttered, street lamps hissing through the swirling snow. Officer Miguel Alvarez parks his patrol car at the curb, engine idling low, windshield wipers ticking out the seconds. Miguel steps out, boots crunching on the sidewalk. His breath fogs in the air as he adjusts the faded Yankees cap pulled low over his brow, a cap that once belonged to his little sister. Thunder, his German shepherd partner, follows close behind, his limp barely noticeable in the snow. Then Miguel spots it, a flash of color near the bakery's doorway. A boy, no more than 9 or 10, barefoot and shaking, pressed against the brick wall with a ripped blanket pulled tight around his shoulders. For a moment, neither of them move. The boy's eyes are dark and hollow, old in a way children's eyes shouldn't be. But when Thunder approaches, something in those eyes shifts. Miguel crouches down, slow and gentle. "Hey there, buddy. Are you okay?" His voice is soft, practiced, a tone he's used with 100 frightened kids, though it never gets easier. The boy doesn't flinch, just watches Thunder, who comes to a halt a few feet away. The big dog lowers his head, tail wagging slow, his presence both intimidating and comforting. Miguel tries again. "You hungry?" The boy shakes his head. Voice barely above a whisper, he asks, "Can I pet your dog?" Miguel nods. Thunder, sensing something fragile, kneels beside the boy, letting him lean against his massive frame. The boy's shaking slows as he buries his face in Thunder's fur, drawing warmth from the old rescue dog. Thunder doesn't move, doesn't even seem to breathe. He just stays there, rock steady, letting the boy find comfort in his gentleness. Miguel pulls off his jacket and drapes it around the boy's shoulders, heart twisting at the bruises along the child's arms, the blood dried on his sleeve. Snow continues to fall, muffling the city's sounds. For a moment, it's just the three of them, Miguel, Thunder, and the boy who hasn't yet told them his name. The only light comes from the bakery's neon sign, painting them in a pale blue glow. A gust of wind rattles the glass, and the boy shudders. Miguel keeps his voice low. "What's your name, kid?" No answer. The boy clings to Thunder, eyes darting down the street as if expecting someone or something to appear. Thunder glances at Miguel, as if urging him to do something. Miguel radios in a code for a lost child, his tone steady but urgent. "I need backup. Possible neglect, possible abuse. We're at the old bakery on Main." As he finishes the call, Miguel notices the blood on the boy's sleeve is fresh. His stomach clenches, a wound, maybe worse. He gently asks, "Are you hurt, buddy?" The boy shakes his head, but his voice cracks. "Don't let them take me away." He's not talking about the police. There's a terror in his tone that Miguel recognizes, a fear he's seen before, in children who trust no one. Thunder licks the boy's hand, grounding him. The dog's presence is more than comfort. It's a silent promise. "I'm here. I won't let anyone hurt you." Miguel checks for injuries, careful not to startle the child. The boy's skin is cold as stone, his feet blue and swollen. Miguel curses under his breath, trying to control the anger that rises in him. Anger at the world, at whoever left this boy out in the cold. An ambulance pulls up, lights spinning through the falling snow. Paramedics move fast, but Thunder blocks them with a low growl until Miguel gives the okay. The boy, still clutching the battered blanket, refuses food but won't let go of Thunder. It takes both Miguel's patience and Thunder's gentleness to coax him into the warmth of the ambulance. Inside, as they drive to the shelter, the boy finally whispers his name. Eli. It's barely audible. Miguel nods, scribbling it into his old notebook, right under the list of unsolved cases. Thunder rests his head on Eli's knee, eyelids drooping, but body alert to every sound. The night grows darker. As they arrive at the shelter, Miguel notices a streak of blood on the ambulance seat, fresh, trailing from Eli's arm. He exchanges a worried glance with the medic, who shakes her head. He's not talking about what happened. Not yet. Miguel leads Thunder and Eli into the shelter, where the lights are harsh and the smells of cleaning solution and fear cling to the walls. The staff tries to separate Eli from Thunder, but the boy clings to the dog's collar, panic rising. Finally, they let Thunder stay. The dog curls up on the floor next to Eli's bed, watchful as a sentry. Miguel sits nearby, notebook open, but pen still. He watches the boy and dog drift into uneasy sleep, snow still piling up outside. Just before dawn, Miguel steps into the hallway to clear his head. He's about to close the door when he spots it. Fresh blood again, on the sleeve of his own jacket. And in the faint reflection of the shelter's glass door, Miguel sees muddy footprints trailing away from the back door, leading into the woods. The shelter's morning starts heavy, the air thick with the sour scent of antiseptic and last night's fear. Miguel sits in the narrow hallway, his battered notebook open but empty, watching the security camera feeds flicker black and white on the office wall. Outside, the snow glows in the sunrise, but inside, the world is gray, muted, tense, waiting for answers. Eli won't eat breakfast. He perches on the edge of the cot, knees drawn up, Thunder pressed tight against his side like a living shield. The shelter's nurse, a kind woman named Karen, kneels beside him with a tray of eggs and toast, coaxing. "Just a bite, sweetheart. You'll feel better with food." Eli turns away, silent. Only when Thunder nudges him, nose cool against his wrist, does he finally break off a corner of toast, letting it crumble between his fingers. He holds it out for Thunder, and the big dog eats from his hand, gentle and patient. Miguel watches this exchange, something tightening in his chest. He recognizes the ritual child-feeding animal lending courage in return. He's seen it before in other broken homes, other lost children. But Thunder's presence is different. The bond between dog and boy seems older than the moment, as if forged in a story neither of them will tell. Eli curls up on the thin mattress, blanket twisted around his shoulders. Thunder lying so close their bodies touch from shoulder to knee. Every time a staff member passes the doorway, Thunder's ears flick and he emits a low, rumbling growl that warns them off. Nobody tries to move the dog. Hours pass. The shelter bustles with children's voices and clattering trays, but in Eli's room, there is only the hush of breathing, the slow rhythm of trust. Miguel steps inside, pulls up a plastic chair, and rests his notebook on his knee. "Eli," Miguel tries, voice soft. "Can you tell me what happened last night?" No answer. Miguel waits, letting silence do its work. He learned patience the hard way, watching his own sister clam up, retreat inside herself after bad nights. Thunder shifts, licking Eli's hand. Finally, in a voice just above a breath, Eli speaks, but not to Miguel. "Don't let them take me away," he whispers, words muffled in Thunder's fur. Miguel's heart aches. "Who's trying to take you, Eli?" Eli doesn't answer. Instead, he reaches into the pocket of his dirty hoodie and pulls out a crumpled piece of paper. It's a drawing, done in faded crayon, rough lines, and heavy shading. It shows a huge black and tan dog, mouth open in a happy pant, a boy's hand resting on his head. Above, in blocky kids' letters, the name Thunder is scrawled in blue. Miguel blinks. That's Thunder. Did you draw this? Eli shakes his head, staring at the floor. Never met him before last night. Miguel studies the picture. The details are too precise. The limp in Thunder's right hind leg, the way his ears stand tall and alert. This isn't just any dog. This is Thunder, drawn before the boy could have ever seen him. Miguel feels a shiver creep up his spine. Karen comes in, gently checking Eli's bruises. The boy flinches at her touch. There are old scars on his back, the kind that tell stories nobody wants to hear. She finds fresh bruising on his ribs, a deep scrape on his upper arm, where last night's blood came from. Not a new wound, Karen murmurs to Miguel. This was reopened. It's been there a while. Miguel's anger simmers. He knows the signs. Neglect, maybe worse. He puts a hand on Thunder's head, grateful the old dog is here, grounding all of them. The morning wears on. Eli drifts in and out of uneasy sleep, fingers tangled in Thunder's fur. When he does talk, it's only to Thunder, voice secret and trembling. Don't let them take me away. They always come at night. Thunder stays awake, never once closing his eyes, standing guard against nightmares both real and imagined. When the nurse tries to move Thunder so she can check Eli's wounds, the dog growls, a sound that vibrates through the thin mattress and sends chills down Miguel's spine. Miguel steps outside for air, breath steaming in the winter light. He flips through his notebook, scribbling questions and suspicions. Why did Eli draw Thunder before meeting him? Who hurt this child? And who's still looking for him? The unsolved cases in Miguel's book feel heavier, the lines between them blurring. A commotion breaks his concentration. Someone yelling, feet pounding on linoleum. He rushes back to Eli's room, heart hammering. The door is wide open. Eli is gone. Panic hits Miguel like a punch. He shouts for staff, racing through the hallways, Thunder surging ahead on instinct. In the chaos, someone finds a muddy trail leading to the shelter's back exit. The heavy metal door stands open, snow drifting inside. Outside, in the half-melted drifts, are small, barefoot footprints. Eli's, mixed with the deeper, wider tracks of Thunder. Miguel's pulse spikes as he scans the tree line. The woods behind the shelter are dense, shadows pooling in the underbrush. He grabs his radio, calling it in. We have a child missing, last seen with a large German shepherd, heading north into the woods. He follows the tracks, Thunder running just ahead, nose to the ground, every muscle tense. Branches whip Miguel's face as he pushes through the brambles. He sees flashes of blue, Eli's blanket, catching on thorns. The prints are fresh, the snow stained in places with drops of red from Eli's scraped arm. Deeper in the woods, Miguel hears Thunder barking, a sharp, frantic sound. He sprints toward it, stumbling into a small clearing where Eli crouches behind a fallen log, arms wrapped around Thunder's neck. The boy's face is wild with fear. Miguel kneels, careful not to startle them. Eli, it's okay. You're safe. No one's going to take you anywhere. Eli looks up, tears streaking his cheeks, but doesn't let go of Thunder. They'll come, he whispers. They always come when it's dark. Thunder nuzzles Eli, pressing closer. Miguel promises, not while I'm here, and not while Thunder's here. The wind howls through the trees, carrying a threat that lingers at the edge of hearing. Miguel gathers Eli in his arms, Thunder beside them, and heads back toward the shelter, alert, determined, and more afraid than ever. He knows this isn't over. It's only just begun. The cold hangs over Asheville like a memory that won't fade. 2 days since that night in the woods, and Miguel feels the city pressing in with its winter silences, its lost corners, and unspoken pain. He's up before dawn, sitting in the kitchen of his rented house, hands wrapped around a chipped mug. Thunder lies by the door, already awake, his gaze flicking to the sleeping boy on Miguel's battered old couch. Eli's breaths come slow and uneven, clutching Thunder's tail even in sleep. Miguel watches them, heart tight. He can't shake the feeling that the boy and the dog are bound together by something deeper than luck. Later that morning, Miguel loads Thunder and Eli into his patrol car. It's Saturday, but official forms and checklists mean nothing when you know a child is still in danger. Miguel checks the rearview mirror. Eli sits close to Thunder in the back seat, hoodie drawn over his face, but his eyes never leave the window. Asheville passes by. Old churches, boarded-up stores, houses hunched against the cold. Each place holds secrets Miguel has spent a lifetime learning how to see. Eli, he tries gently as they roll through a neighborhood of peeling paint and frozen lawns. Can you help me understand where you were before we found you? Anybody I should be looking for? Eli stays silent, knees pulled up to his chin. It's Thunder who gets the first answer. Eli leans forward, burying his face in Thunder's neck. Miguel sees the boy's shoulders tremble. The day is long, slow, careful. Miguel takes Eli and Thunder along his regular patrol. Shops, a crowded laundromat, even a diner where the owner slips Eli a cup of hot chocolate, no questions asked. All the while, Miguel asks soft questions, offers gentle reassurances. Each time, Eli shrinks away, eyes darting to Thunder for reassurance. Near midday, they pass an empty lot where a burned playground lies in blackened ruin. Charred swings, melted slide, graffiti scrawled over what's left. The sight stops Eli in his tracks. He tugs on Thunder's collar, halting the walk. Miguel crouches next to him. You know this place? Eli nods, face pale. Other kids. They come at night. Then they're gone. The words are barely a whisper, lost in the wind. Thunder's ears go up, body tense. Miguel feels a chill run through him, memories of his own sister's fate flickering like shadows at the edge of his thoughts. He kneels, looking the boy in the eye. Did you see who took them? Eli shakes his head, eyes darting. Not faces, just voices. They call from the dark. Miguel puts a hand on Thunder's back, grounding himself. Did you ever see any cars? Hear names? Eli presses his lips together. A red scarf. That's all I saw. Thunder licks the boy's hand, a silent promise of safety. For the first time, Eli lets his guard down, just a little. He leans against Thunder's side and whispers things Miguel strains to hear. Stories of hiding in alleyways, following stray dogs for scraps, hearing rumors from other kids about bad people who take children nobody misses. Miguel listens, heart heavy. The boy's words are broken, scattered, like puzzle pieces from 100 stories he's heard but never solved. He lets Eli set the pace, letting the conversation fade when the boy retreats inside himself. As afternoon darkens, Eli grows anxious, glancing over his shoulder, fidgeting with the edge of his sleeve. Thunder never leaves his side, watching everyone who passes, always alert. Miguel steers them toward his car, planning to call it a day, but Eli freezes as they pass a narrow alley. Wait, Eli says, voice shaking. He points to a faded mural on a crumbling brick wall, a mural of children playing beneath a rainbow, now cracked and peeling. Miguel waits, letting the silence stretch. Finally, Eli whispers, "Sometimes, I saw men with bags. They went into the alley. I hid behind the dumpster." His voice wavers, heard crying, then nothing. Miguel's anger burns quietly, controlled. You did good, Eli. You were brave. Thunder nudges Eli's hand. The boy smiles, brief and crooked. Back at Miguel's house, the day settles into quiet. He cooks spaghetti on the stove, filling the kitchen with steam and warmth. Eli sits at the table, drawing quietly. Thunder lies under the table, resting his head on Eli's feet. Miguel studies them. How Thunder's presence seems to anchor the boy, keeping the nightmares at bay, if only for a while. That night, after dinner, Eli wakes screaming from a nightmare. Sweat soaking his hair, hands clenched in fists. Thunder leaps onto the bed, pressing close, licking the boy's cheek. Miguel sits on the edge, rubbing Eli's back in slow circles. Eli sobs, "Don't let them get me! Don't let them take Thunder!" Miguel feels his own scars ache. He remembers holding his sister through nights just like this. How the fear never really left her eyes, even years later. He makes a promise. You're safe here. I won't let anyone take you. And Thunder won't leave you either. Later, as the house quiets, Eli whispers secrets to Thunder. Memories of cold nights. The sound of footsteps in the alley. The way the dark can swallow even the bravest heart. Thunder listens, eyes gentle, his body a solid wall between Eli and the world. Before bed, Eli surprises Miguel by handing him a new drawing. Thunder standing in the snow, a small boy huddled beside him. "For you," Eli says, voice barely there. Miguel pins the drawing on his fridge. It sits beside a photo of his sister. A reminder that even when the world is broken, some things can be pieced together again. When Thunder finally settles at the foot of Eli's bed, the house feels a little less haunted. Miguel stands in the hallway, listening to the boy's slow, even breaths, Thunder's steady sighs, the wind rattling the windows. He knows the fight isn't over, not by a long shot. But tonight, at least, Eli sleeps safe, and that is enough. A cold rain beats against the city, turning Asheville's narrow streets to slick rivers of gray and brown. The world feels hushed, half drowned, as if the city itself is holding its breath. Miguel wakes before sunrise, the echo of Eli's nightmares clinging to the air. He finds Thunder already at the door, tail thumping once in quiet greeting, and Eli curled up with a thin blanket on the couch, eyes wide, awake for hours. Miguel kneels beside the boy. "You want pancakes for breakfast, Eli?" The boy only shrugs, eyes haunted. He glances at Thunder, fingers knotting in the dog's fur. "They'll come back. They always do," he whispers. Miguel tries a smile. "Not while we're here." Thunder licks Eli's knuckles, and the boy manages a small, crooked grin. For a moment, it's enough. A fleeting scrap of hope in a city that keeps its secrets well. After breakfast, Miguel buckles Eli into the patrol car and heads for the neighborhood where the burned playground sits like a scar. He drives slow, Thunder riding shotgun, Eli silent in the back. The sky is a bruise, low and threatening. Miguel's thoughts circle the way water circles a drain, always returning to the drawing Eli made of Thunder before they ever met, to the terror in the boy's voice when he spoke of bad people, and to the names in his old battered notebook, each one an unsolved case. Parking at the edge of the lot, Miguel steps out, scanning the shadows. Eli hesitates, shivering despite the thick hoodie and jacket. "You said you used to hide, right?" Miguel asks. Eli nods, gaze fixed on the crumbling curb. "In the drains, down where it's dark." He glances at Thunder, who presses his nose into Eli's hand, urging him forward. Together, they walk behind the playground, past the twisted swings and the shell of what was once a slide. Thunder sniffs at the ground, his limp more pronounced in the cold. Suddenly, he veers off, pawing at a rusted metal grate. Eli flinches at the sound, a sharp clatter of iron. That's where I hid, when I was scared. Miguel kneels, flashlight out, sweeping the beam into the darkness. The tunnel beneath the grate is wide enough for a child, maybe a desperate adult. Litter clogs the entrance. Candy wrappers, broken toys, and a single child's glove, soaked through. Miguel picks it up, turning it over in his hands. It's pink, with a faded rainbow on the back. He swallows hard. Eli hugs Thunder tighter. Sometimes I hear crying. Sometimes I just hear nothing. Thunder noses deeper into the opening, whining low. Miguel shines his light farther, catching the glint of something plastic wedged in the mud. A candy wrapper, bright blue, with a logo Miguel doesn't recognize. He slips it into an evidence bag, heart pounding. He's seen this kind of lure before. Treats, toys, and promises left to catch the desperate or the forgotten. Who gave you candy, Eli? Miguel asks quietly. Eli shrugs. Don't know. Never saw a face. Only hands. He stares into the dark mouth of the drain, shoulders hunched. Sometimes they wait. Sometimes they grab. Thunder's hackles rise, his body tense. Suddenly he freezes, ears pricked, a low growl rumbling deep in his chest. At the far end of the tunnel, a locked maintenance hatch glints under the flashlight's beam, old, iron, and shut with a heavy chain. Eli pulls back, terror flooding his face. Don't go down there, he begs. Bad things happen down there. Kids don't come back. Miguel puts a steady hand on Eli's shoulder. You're not going back down there, I promise. But I need to know what happened. Can you help me? The boy shakes his head, voice trembling. I only saw him once. He had a red scarf, dragged something, like a bag, big enough for a kid. Miguel swears under his breath, anger simmering. He radios for backup, voice clipped. This is Officer Alvarez. I need a unit at the corner of Maple and 5th. Possible evidence of trafficking. Network of tunnels. Bring bolt cutters. He keeps Eli close, one arm wrapped around the boy's shoulders, Thunder pressed to their side. Sirens wail in the distance, the sound thin and wavering through the rain. Miguel's mind races. A red scarf, a locked hatch, evidence that kids are being moved underground, just beneath the city's feet. He flashes back to his sister, how the system failed her, how he swore it would never happen again on his watch. As the backup team arrives, Miguel briefs them in low, urgent tones. He shows them the glove, the wrapper, the hatch. A pair of officers move to cut the chain, and the tunnel fills with harsh light and echoing voices. Eli clings to Thunder, eyes squeezed shut. Please, please don't let them get me. Thunder stands tall, wedging himself between Eli and the opening, teeth bared in warning at anyone who draws too close. Miguel crouches in front of Eli, voice gentle but fierce. We're going to keep you safe, I swear it. Inside the tunnel, the air is thick and damp, stinking of mold and rot. Old graffiti marks the walls, names, dates, strange symbols. The passage splits in several directions, each turn a question mark. Miguel's flashlight catches more evidence. A child's shoe, a torn backpack, the scraps of a blanket. As the officers search, Thunder stays at the entrance, watching over Eli. Miguel returns to the surface, fury and fear warring in his chest. He knows what they're up against now. Knows it's bigger and uglier than anyone wants to believe. Back at the car, as rain hammers the roof, Eli finally breaks the silence. He wasn't alone, he whispers. There's more. They all wear something red. Miguel writes it down, jaw set. We'll find them, he promises. We'll stop them. Thunder rests his head on Eli's lap, his old eyes shining with trust and sorrow. As dusk settles over Asheville, Miguel drives them home in silence. But inside, he feels a terrible clarity. This city's shadows are full of secrets, and he's only just begun to drag them into the light. The rain finally slows to a drizzle, leaving Asheville under a blanket of fog that blurs the streetlights and muffles the city's early morning sounds. Miguel barely slept, his mind grinding on every detail: the tunnel, the red scarf, the evidence of kids lured underground. Thunder paces restlessly from door to window, ears flicking at every car passing outside, while Eli curls tighter on the couch, exhausted but unable to sink into real sleep. Miguel makes coffee, hands trembling as he fumbles the filter. He feels the old anger churning, a familiar fury at a world that chews up kids and spits them out. He wishes, not for the first time, that his sister could see him now, fighting in ways he couldn't back then. At dawn, a call comes in. One of the officers from last night's search reports a fresh tip. A neighbor near the storm drain saw a man with a red scarf leading a child toward the old textile warehouse at the edge of town. The warehouse has been abandoned for years, windows boarded, roof sagging, but sometimes you can see a flicker of light after midnight. Miguel doesn't wait for backup. He grabs his badge, his flashlight, and his battered notebook. Thunder is already at the door, tail stiff, eyes sharp with purpose. Eli hesitates, clutching his own drawing of thunder, his silent talisman. "Can I come?" the boy asks, voice so small Miguel almost says no. But Thunder noses Eli's hand, and Miguel knows the boy won't stay behind. They go together. The drive is quiet, except for Thunder's occasional whine and the low rumble of Miguel's old patrol car. The warehouse appears out of the mist like a shipwreck, looming, skeletal. Graffiti scrawls across the brick, and old pallets rot by the loading dock. The gate is unlocked. Miguel leads the way, flashlight cutting a thin beam through the dimness. He listens for movement, any sound out of place. Thunder moves beside him, nose twitching, every muscle alert. Eli walks between them, clutching Thunder's tail like a lifeline. Inside, the air is thick with mold and dust. Shafts of gray light leak through cracks in the ceiling. Broken glass crunches beneath their feet. In one corner, they find the first sign: a battered teddy bear missing an ear, lying face down on a dirty blanket. Miguel crouches, holding it up to Eli. The boy shakes his head, eyes wide. Thunder sniffs deeper, pulling them down a corridor lined with empty crates. Eli's breathing grows faster. "Don't leave me," he whispers. Miguel puts a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Then Thunder stops, nose pressed against a pile of rags. Miguel lifts the rags and finds something chilling. A pile of old, tiny shoes, some barely bigger than a toddler's, all filthy and abandoned. Next to them, a lunchbox covered in Spider-Man stickers. Miguel pries it open, expecting only crumbs. But inside is a cell phone, screen cracked but still lit up. He opens the phone and scrolls through the photos. His blood turns to ice. Image after image of children's faces, sometimes smiling, sometimes asleep, some with bruises. Eli's photo is there, looking out at the camera, expression blank, eyes shadowed. Miguel clutches the phone, jaw clenched. He calls it in, whispering into his radio. "This is Alvarez. I've found evidence of multiple victims. Possible live feed. Suspect may be present. Send backup, now." Thunder stands guard, placing himself between Eli and the shadows. The boy is shaking. "I want to go home," he says, voice barely audible. Thunder licks his hand, grounding him, and for a moment, Eli's trembling eases. Miguel hears a faint hum and realizes there are security cameras in the corners, tiny red lights blinking, following their movement. Someone is watching. He tries to keep his tone calm. Eli, we need to be brave. Just a little longer, okay? Suddenly, a heavy metal door slams behind them with a crash that echoes through the vast, empty warehouse. The flashlight flickers. Eli jumps, eyes wild with panic. Thunder snarls, teeth bared. Miguel rushes to the door, pounding on it. Locked, solid. His radio crackles, but the signal is weak, barely more than static. He checks his phone, no service. The only sounds are Eli's quick breaths, Thunder's low growl, and the faint hum of the cameras. The air grows thick, claustrophobic. Shadows crowd the corners. Miguel's mind races through options. No easy way out. No windows big enough to break. No tools in sight. He scans the room, searching for anything that might give them leverage. Thunder leads them farther into the darkness, away from the locked door. They find a small room at the far end, filled with old mattresses, dirty blankets, and plastic bins of broken toys. Eli backs away, horrified. There are stains on the blankets, graffiti on the walls, evidence of children kept here for days or weeks. Miguel kneels, searching each bin. He finds more photos, more proof, torn school IDs, a girl's bracelet engraved with hope. His chest tightens. So many kids, so many stories unfinished. Suddenly, Eli panics, bolting for the nearest corner, chest heaving. They'll come back. They always do. Thunder moves with him, pressing close, licking his face, a steadying force. Miguel crouches beside them, feeling powerless but refusing to show it. We're not leaving you. Not now, not ever. He takes Thunder's leash, hands it to Eli. Hold on tight. We'll get out. I promise. A voice crackles over a speaker, cold and distorted. You shouldn't have come here, officer. The cameras swivel, following their every move. The room feels smaller, the shadows deeper. Thunder paces, hackles raised, nose twitching as if searching for a scent, a path, any way out. Eli huddles against Miguel, drawing comfort from Thunder's warmth, even as his fear threatens to spill over. Outside, sirens grow faintly louder. Help is coming, but will it be soon enough? Miguel's resolve hardens. He's never felt so trapped, but he knows one thing for certain. He will not let Eli become another unsolved case, another name in his notebook. Thunder's eyes lock with his, fierce and unyielding. We'll find a way, Miguel says, mostly to himself, but also to the boy, to the dog, to the ghosts that haunt this place. No matter what. In the darkness, hope flickers, a stubborn, desperate thing. And for now, that is enough. The warehouse is silent, except for the thud of Miguel's heart, and Eli's short, scared breaths. The metal door behind them stands firm. No windows, no way out, no way to call for help. Only the cold, the dust, and the relentless stare of red camera lights following every move. Miguel's anger simmers under his calm, every muscle tensed. He kneels beside Eli and Thunder, sweeping the flashlight around the room, searching for anything that might break their prison. The air is thick, stifling, filled with the ghost scent of too many children and too much fear. Thunder moves first, sniffing the dirty, warped floorboards at the far end of the room. The big shepherd paws at a spot beneath a broken cot, nose to the cracks. Miguel feels a flicker of hope and joins him, pulling back filthy blankets, squinting to see better. Thunder digs harder, claws scraping wood, whimpering deep in his throat. Eli crouches beside Thunder, squeezing his paw for courage. He smells something, the boy whispers, his voice steadier than before. The flashlight's beam catches a rotten floorboard, warped at the edges. Miguel wedges his fingers beneath it and pulls. It comes loose with a loud groan, revealing a dark hole below. A tunnel, narrow, reeking of earth and rot, but big enough for a grown man to crawl through. Miguel's relief is sharp, desperate. He drops to his belly, shining the light into the blackness. It stretches under the warehouse, the far end lost in shadow. He turns to Eli, voice gentle but urgent. "We have to go, now. Can you do this?" Eli nods, wiping his nose on his sleeve. "If Thunder goes first." Thunder doesn't hesitate. He sniffs the hole, then crawls in, his powerful body moving with surprising grace for a dog his size and age. His limp is more pronounced in the cramped space, but he doesn't falter. Eli follows, crawling after the dog, hands shaking but determined. Miguel brings up the rear, pushing the floorboard back into place to cover their escape. Inside the tunnel, the world narrows to sound and touch, the scrape of knees on dirt, the thud of Thunder's paws, Eli's breathing echoing off the walls. Water drips somewhere ahead. Miguel's flashlight bobs wildly as he crawls, one hand always on Eli's ankle, making sure the boy is still with him. They crawl for what feels like hours, turning left, then right, the tunnel splitting and winding beneath the city. At last, Thunder stops, nose pressed to a thin door of rotting wood. Miguel strains to listen, muffled voices above, the shuffling of footsteps. He signals silence, pulling Eli back. The voices fade. Miguel pushes on the door. It creaks open into a basement room filled with rows of child-sized beds, dirty blankets, and rusted chains bolted to the floor. Miguel's stomach knots in horror. This is no temporary hideout. It's a holding cell. Names are scratched into the paint, some in childish scrawl, some only initials. There's evidence everywhere. Lost shoes, school notebooks, a pink ribbon, a drawing taped to the wall. All proof of lives interrupted and innocence stolen. Eli's eyes are wide, his fists clenched. Thunder stays close, placing himself between the boy and the horrors of the room. Miguel takes a deep breath and searches the room for an exit. At the far end, behind a tangle of pipes, Thunder paws at the wall, whining. Miguel crouches and finds a vent half covered by cardboard. He pries it open and feels cool air rushing in. An old maintenance exit, just wide enough for Thunder and Eli to squeeze through. Miguel lifts Eli up first. "You're almost free, kid. Just a little more." Eli hesitates, glancing back at the beds. "What about the other kids?" he whispers. Miguel's voice is hoarse. "We'll come back for them. But you have to get out now. Help is coming." Thunder crawls through first, then Eli, then Miguel, all three emerging into the pale blue light of early dawn. They find themselves in the alley behind the warehouse, hidden by dumpsters and the tangled skeletons of abandoned shopping carts. Sirens wail in the distance. Getting closer, hope finally breaking through the dread. Miguel checks Eli for injuries. Just a scraped knee, blood on his shirt from earlier. Thunder stands guard, body between the boy and the world, gaze fixed on the alley's mouth. In that moment, they hear footsteps pounding on the concrete. A man running, breath ragged. He bursts into the alley, clutching something in his fist. A badge. He's older, face hard and familiar. Eli freezes. "That's him," he whispers, voice raw. "He used to be my foster dad." Miguel's blood runs cold. He recognizes the man from a file he's kept in his notebook for years. A former foster parent, bounced from family to family, fired for violence but never charged. The man locks eyes with Miguel, and for a moment, the world goes silent. Thunder bristles, growling low. Miguel places himself between Eli and the man, drawing his badge, voice steady and fierce. "Asheville police, don't move!" The man hesitates, glancing at the exit, but Thunder lunges, blocking the path with his huge body. The man raises his hands, mouth twisted in a snarl. Police cars screech to a halt at the alley's end. Officers flood in, weapons drawn. The man with the badge doesn't fight. He just stares at Eli, hate burning in his eyes. Miguel feels a chill. This is no random predator. This is a man with ties, a link in the chain. The other officers cuff the man, leading him away. Thunder relaxes, moving to press his head against Eli's side, a living shield. Miguel hugs the boy, letting his own hands shake for a moment. The officers clear the warehouse, bringing out evidence, comforting terrified children, piecing together the scale of the trafficking. Eli stands in the dawn's weak light, shivering, but his voice is steady now. You promised, and you kept your promise. Miguel nods, swallowing the ache in his throat. We're not finished, but we're closer. Thunder sits with Eli in the alley, their bond forged even stronger by the darkness they've escaped. Sirens fade into the distance, but the memory of chains and locked doors will never fully leave them. As the sun rises, painting Asheville gold, Miguel knows the fight isn't over. But for now, they have each other, and that is enough. The early morning breaks over Asheville, thin sunlight cutting through the clouds as if the city is trying to shake off a nightmare. Word spreads quickly. Kids rescued from a basement, a man in cuffs, but rumors run faster than truth. Police radios crackle with new leads and panicked calls from parents who saw the news before the facts were clear. Miguel barely has time to catch his breath. He sits with Eli and Thunder in the back of an ambulance parked behind the warehouse. Paramedics tend to the boy's cuts and bruises, their hands gentle, but Eli flinches at every siren, every shadow. Thunder sits so close to Eli he's almost in the boy's lap, head pressed against the child's ribs, unmoving, a living anchor. The officer in charge steps over, voice tense. Alvarez, we've got a description. Man with a red scarf was spotted leaving the scene. He ran south toward the city square. We think he's the ringleader. She hesitates, glancing at Eli. He's dangerous. Miguel's jaw tightens. He glances down at Eli, who clutches Thunder's collar with white-knuckled hands. The boy's voice is small but steady. Don't let him get away. Thunder's ears perk up. The dog is already alert, body humming with purpose. Miguel nods. We won't. He quickly gathers his things. Badge, radio, the old notebook. Thunder leads the way, nose to the ground, following a scent only he can understand. Eli insists on coming, his stubborn gaze fixed on the city beyond. I can help, he says, trembling. Miguel hesitates for half a heartbeat, then nods. The boys earned the right to face his fears. They pile into a squad car, lights flashing. The dispatcher's voice buzzes in the cabin. Suspect heading east on Haywood. Red scarf, possibly armed. Every street seems to crawl with officers, neighbors, bystanders craning for a look at the commotion. Thunder leans out the window, nose twitching, barking when they get close. Miguel drives with one hand, the other gripping his notebook. Flipping through sketches and names, so many lost kids, so many stories without endings. He won't let Eli become one of them. They spot the suspect near a crowded intersection, the red scarf bright against the gray morning. He shoves his way through a farmer's market, knocking over crates of apples, scattering people in his wake. Thunder leaps from the car before it stops, running hard despite his limp, his bark echoing through the street. Miguel yells for backup as he and Eli chase after Thunder. The suspect darts between stalls, glancing back, face contorted with panic. He tries to vanish into a sea of bodies, but Thunder is relentless. He weaves through legs and barrels, always closing the distance. Near the intersection, Thunder lunges, blocking the man's escape. The suspect whirls, a flash of metal in his hand, a switchblade. People scream, scattering. Eli freezes, breath caught in his throat. Miguel sprints forward, gun drawn but voice calm. "Drop it!" he shouts, positioning himself between Eli and the danger. Thunder stands his ground, barking, hackles raised but eyes locked on the suspect. The man hesitates, then bolts, shoving past a vendor, sending fruit flying. Thunder is on him in a heartbeat, grabbing the man's coat and dragging him to the ground. The blade skitters away, lost beneath a vendor's cart. The suspect kicks at Thunder, but the dog doesn't back down. Miguel and two officers wrestle the man into cuffs, pressing him face first into the pavement. The suspect curses, spitting at Miguel, but his fight is gone. Eli approaches slowly, trembling. He stands over the man, the one who'd haunted his nightmares for months. The suspect looks up, meeting Eli's gaze. Something hard flickers in the boy's eyes, a strength earned through fear and survival. "You can't hurt me anymore," Eli whispers, voice shaking but clear. Miguel places a steadying hand on Eli's shoulder. The crowd that had gathered begins to cheer, first quietly, then louder. Someone shouts, "That's the kid! The dog saved them!" Thunder sits beside Eli, tongue lolling, tail wagging despite his exhaustion. A detective kneels next to the suspect, voice low. "Talk, now. How many kids? Where are they?" The man glares at Miguel, then glances at the cheering crowd and sags in defeat. "You'll never find all of them," he sneers. But a flash of fear betrays him. Miguel leans in, voice hard as granite. "Try me." In the squad car, the man breaks. He mutters names, addresses, safe houses, abandoned homes, a farmhouse outside the city. He claims he's just a small part of something bigger, but Miguel knows the look of a man who's been running too long. Police race to the new locations, busting doors and freeing more children, some too frightened to speak, some clutching each other in the dark. Each rescue is a celebration, the city's pain momentarily eclipsed by hope. Eli clings to Thunder, tears running down his cheeks. Not from fear this time, but relief. Miguel hugs them both, his own hands shaking. "You did it, kid. You helped save them." Thunder, ever the quiet hero, simply leans into the boy, a soft, contented sigh rumbling in his chest. The sun finally breaks through the clouds, warming the city. Asheville's people stand on sidewalks and clap as police cars roll by. Sirens now a song of hope, not dread. In the rear view, Miguel catches Eli's reflection, eyes tired, but no longer haunted, a hint of a smile forming as Thunder rests his head in the boy's lap. They drive on, chasing the last of the darkness from Asheville, knowing the work isn't finished. But for the first time in a long time, the city feels alive with possibility. Dawn comes sharp and gold over Asheville, the city stirring from a long nightmare but not yet fully awake. The police station is a storm of activity, phones ringing off the hook, detectives hunched over maps, officers moving in and out with coffee and exhaustion in their eyes. Miguel's desk is buried in paperwork, statements, and evidence bags. But his mind is somewhere else. On the farmhouse address muttered by the man with the red scarf, on the missing kids still out there, on Eli and Thunder sleeping side by side on a blanket in the squad room corner, the boy's hand resting on the dog's broad back. Miguel rubs his eyes, fighting off a headache, the weight of the night pressing hard on his shoulders. He stares at the photo tacked above his desk, his sister, hair wild, smiling. "He's closer now," he tells her silently. closer than ever to breaking the chain that destroyed their family. A coded message comes through, an intercepted text from another suspect's phone. Last shipment. Use the old cellar door. Leave no trace. The location, the abandoned farmhouse outside Asheville. Miguel's pulse spikes. He grabs his badge, his gun, and his notebook. Thunder rises instantly, alert and ready. Eli stands, rubbing his eyes, determination sparking in his tired face. "You're not going without me," the boy says, voice shaky but strong. Miguel hesitates, then nods. He knows better than to argue. They go together. Police cars roar down country roads, red and blue lights flickering over frost-covered fields. Miguel leads the charge, Thunder pressed to his side, Eli bundled in a spare jacket in the back seat. The farmhouse comes into view, a sagging, paint-peeled structure surrounded by brittle weeds and a rusted fence. There's an unnatural silence hanging over the land. The SWAT team fans out, weapons ready, voices low. Miguel gestures to Thunder, who sniffs the porch, nose to the warped wood. Eli clings to Miguel's side, breathing shallow and fast. They move in. The front door swings open with a groan, hinges screaming in protest. Inside, the house is dark, curtains drawn, floors thick with dust. But at the end of the hallway, a single light glows under a battered door. Thunder finds it first. He scratches at the base, whining deep in his throat. Miguel presses his ear to the wood. He hears muffled sobs, the scuff of small feet. "Children," he whispers. Miguel signals the team. In a single, fluid movement, they break the lock and push inside. The cellar yawns open, dark, cold, the air thick with the smell of fear and old earth. Thunder charges ahead, barking, leading Miguel and the officers down a rickety staircase. At the bottom, behind a makeshift barricade of crates and mattresses, they find them, a huddle of terrified children, eyes wide in the flashlight beams. One girl clutches a faded teddy bear. Another shields a younger boy behind her body. Among them, a small voice calls out, "Eli?" Eli stumbles forward, almost tripping down the last step. "Ava!" His little sister, thinner than he remembers, rushes into his arms, sobbing, both children clinging so tightly it's as if they'll never let go. Thunder circles the children, sniffing each one, tail wagging, offering comfort. Miguel's chest tightens as he kneels beside them. "You're safe," he promises, voice thick. "No one's going to hurt you now." The last abductor, a desperate, cornered man, appears from the shadows, wielding a rusted pipe. Thunder moves between him and the children, growling, a low, rumbling warning. The man hesitates, rage and fear warring on his face. He swings, but Thunder is faster, dodging left, herding the children behind Miguel. Miguel steps forward, voice cold as steel. "Drop it, you're done." The man lunges. Miguel sidesteps, grabbing the man's arm and twisting hard. The pipe clatters to the ground. Thunder keeps the children in a tight pack as other officers rush in, subduing the suspect. The farmhouse echoes with shouts, radios, crying, chaos giving way to relief. Miguel turns back, finds Eli cradling Ava, both children shaking but alive. The other rescued kids clutch each other, some crying, some silent with shock. Thunder moves among them, letting each child touch his fur, grounding their terror with his steady presence. A paramedic crouches beside Ava, checking her injuries. She flinches, but Eli is right there, whispering, "It's okay, Thunder's here." The words seem to steady her. Miguel stands aside, overwhelmed, tears pricking his eyes. He's seen too many endings that went the other way. Too many empty beds, too many unanswered questions. Today, at least, the story ends with children held safe. but not all wounds are visible. As police and medics work, Miguel notices Eli hasn't spoken since they found Ava. The boy's eyes are wide and bright, but his mouth is frozen, the trauma locking him silent. Even as Ava clings to him, begging, "Say something, Eli, please," he cannot force a word out. Miguel kneels beside him, hand gentle on his shoulder. "It's okay," he says quietly. "You're here. That's enough." Thunder lies down at Eli's side, pressing close, offering warmth and weight and silent understanding. Sunlight seeps into the cellar as officers open the doors. The children blink in the pale morning light, squinting up at the sky as if unsure they're truly free. Eli carries Ava, Thunder at their side as they climb out of the darkness. The farmhouse stands broken behind them, but on the porch, the children gather, clinging to each other, to Thunder, to the hope that comes with rescue. Miguel stands at the edge of the crowd, battered notebook clutched in his hand. Heart aching and full, the ring is broken, the children are safe. But Miguel knows some scars won't ever fully fade. Eli's voice is still gone, stolen by fear. But his hand in Ava's, Thunder's fur beneath his palm. These are the first steps back, and for a moment, as the sun climbs higher, hope feels real. Winter's edge gives way to a gentler chill, and for the first time in weeks, Asheville feels less like a city under siege and more like a place where healing could grow. Still, for Miguel, the world hasn't really returned to normal. He wakes every morning before dawn, notebook on his chest, Thunder's snoring a steady background to his worries, but the nightmares have faded, replaced by quieter questions. What comes after rescue? How do you stitch hope into the lives that darkness nearly erased? Eli and Ava stay at Miguel's place for a while, along with Thunder. His home is small and cluttered, old photos on the fridge, a patchwork quilt from his mother on the couch. But it's safe, and that safety is a balm. Eli barely speaks. Ava talks enough for both of them, shadowing her brother everywhere, asking endless questions, drawing pictures with broken crayons. Thunder has become something more than a dog to these children. He moves through the house like a guardian spirit, sleeping beside Eli at night, sitting beside Ava as she learns to trust the quiet again. There are moments when Ava laughs at Thunder's antics, or when Eli smiles, even just for a heartbeat, that Miguel treasures. He's learned to watch for the small victories. Every week they visit the hospital, where Eli and other rescued children begin their slow, careful climb back from trauma. There are therapy sessions, some with crayons and paper, some with gentle words, some in silence with Thunder lying across the children's feet. At first, Eli is a statue, still, mute, unreachable except for Thunder's presence. He startles at loud sounds, flinches at touch, but always calms when Thunder lays his head in his lap. Miguel sits with the other officers in the waiting room, his battered notebook open, jotting down lessons learned and names never to forget. Some officers joke about his habits. Most now understand. He writes one day, as Eli and Thunder disappear into a session, "Real courage is not in chasing monsters, but in loving those who survived them." As weeks pass, the children begin to heal in ways that are quiet, sometimes invisible. Shapes drawn on paper, tentative steps back into playgrounds, the first time Ava sleeps through the night without waking in tears. The community responds. Neighbors bring food, quilts, and books. Volunteers sign up to read stories, teach art, and, most importantly, offer their gentle presence. One snowy afternoon in the hospital's therapy room, Thunder rolls over onto his back, all four paws in the air. It's Ava who giggles first, But Eli's eyes light up with the old spark. When the therapist invites Eli to call for Thunder, the boy hesitates. Then, with trembling lips, finally whispers, "Thunder." His first word since the rescue. The room goes silent. Miguel feels tears sting his eyes. Thunder's tail thumps wildly as he leaps onto the couch, licking Eli's hand. The breakthrough is like a ripple. First Eli, then the other kids. Each finds courage in their own way, sharing a toy, answering a question, letting go of Thunder's fur for just a minute. The hospital's chief therapist writes in her report, "Animal companionship is not just a comfort. It is a bridge back to trust and hope." Miguel is there for all of it. He helps build a new program, Asheville's Thunder Initiative. Every at-risk child in the city is paired with a therapy dog, rescues, retirees, and misfits like Thunder, all trained to listen, protect, and heal. Donations pour in. What started as a desperate act of survival becomes a movement, one that transforms not just children, but families, neighborhoods, even old-timers who once turned a blind eye. One evening, Miguel stands before a gathering of officers, teachers, and social workers. He's never liked public speaking, but tonight, the words come easily. "The truest heroes," he says, "aren't the ones who hunt evil. They're the ones who stand by the broken, who believe in healing even when it's hard. Thunder taught me that. Eli and Ava remind me every day. Asheville changes, one small act at a time. Fewer kids slip through the cracks. Teachers know the signs. Neighbors keep watch. The children are no longer shadows. They are seen, heard, protected. Thunder is the symbol of that change. The community paints murals of him with Eli and Ava, a reminder that even battered, limping heroes can change the world." One crisp morning, Eli walks to the playground without clutching Thunder's leash. He hesitates, then joins the other children. Ava runs ahead, shrieking with laughter, hair wild in the wind. Miguel stands at the fence, watching, a sense of peace washing over him for the first time in years. Later, back at home, Eli sits beside Miguel and asks, "Are you still afraid, officer?" Miguel considers, glancing at Thunder stretched out in a sunbeam. He smiles, not as much anymore. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is hope. Asheville's wounds aren't all healed. Some scars run too deep. But there is hope now. Real, stubborn, loud hope. And it lives in the wag of Thunder's tail, in the sound of Ava's giggles, in Eli's voice, small but growing stronger every day. Spring comes to Asheville gently, bringing wildflowers to the hillsides and soft green leaves to the trees that line the city's old neighborhoods. The dark days are not forgotten, but in the new sunlight, hope blooms with quiet determination. For the first time in years, Miguel notices laughter in the parks, children chasing each other in the grass, and the easy sound of neighbors greeting each other on the street. In the heart of Carrier Park, a crowd gathers beneath colorful banners. Thunder Day, a celebration for foster kids and rescue dogs. Tables overflow with cupcakes, lemonade, and art supplies. There are face painters, therapy dogs in bright bandanas, and volunteers from every part of the city. The mayor is there, the police chief, social workers, and, at the center, Miguel, Eli, Ava, and Thunder, the dog who started it all. Eli, no longer shrinking from every sound, sprints across the field with Ava and Thunder by his side. They chase bubbles and fly kites, laughter ringing through the spring air where fear once ruled. Ava wears a yellow dress, hair tangled with dandelions. Eli's eyes are bright, and his steps are sure. Thunder, though still limping, gallops with the children, tail wagging like a flag. Miguel stands back, watching, hands in his jacket pockets, heart full. For months he has worked to help Asheville heal, meeting with teachers, foster parents, and city officials, pushing for the Thunder Initiative to become something permanent. Now, every child placed in foster care receives not only a safe home, but the friendship of a therapy dog, each animal with its own story of hardship and resilience. As the music starts, a folk band on a makeshift stage, Miguel is called up to speak. The mayor offers him a medal, but Miguel only shakes his head, smiling. He takes the microphone and turns to the kids gathered before him. "This day isn't about me," he says, voice steady. "It's about family. Family isn't always the people you're born with. Sometimes it's the ones who choose you, who show up when it matters most. Thunder chose us. Eli and Ava chose each other. And this city chose to protect its children." He crouches down, inviting Eli and Ava to join him on stage. Thunder follows, settling at their feet. The crowd cheers, and someone wipes away a tear. "I was lost for a long time," Miguel continues, glancing at the faces in the crowd. "But this family saved me as much as I saved them. Every act of kindness, every small moment of courage. That's what makes a home." Eli takes the microphone next, voice shy but proud. "Thank you," he says simply, and the applause is thunderous. The day rolls on with games, music, and shared stories. Foster families swap phone numbers. Children laugh as they paint paw prints on canvas with their new canine companions. Volunteers sign up for next year's Thunder Day, vowing to make it even bigger. Miguel slips away for a moment, walking to the edge of the park where the trees cast long shadows in the golden afternoon. He thinks of his sister, the promise he made, the years of guilt and anger, and feels her presence, light and forgiving, in the breeze. Thunder trots over, nudging Miguel's hand with his nose, as if reminding him to live in this moment, to let go. Later, as the sun dips low, Eli and Ava curl up in the grass with Thunder sprawled between them, the dog's body warm and steady beneath their small hands. They watch the sky turn from blue to gold to lavender, safe in a world that once seemed determined to forget them. In those last moments, Miguel takes out his battered notebook, finds a fresh page and writes, "Legacy isn't just what we leave behind. It's what we build every day, in every act of love and courage. Thunder taught us that true family is chosen, that hope grows even from the coldest winter, if you're patient enough to wait for spring." As evening falls, the city lights blink on, one by one, across Asheville. The festival ends, but the sense of community lingers. Parents gather their children, foster families embrace, and volunteers lead tired dogs home to warm beds. Thunder rests in the grass, Eli and Ava nestled at his side. The camera crews have left, the applause has faded, but the most important moment remains. 3 souls, found and healed, wrapped together under a sky full of promise. Miguel looks out at his city, at this unlikely family, and finally allows himself a deep breath, a soft smile. He knows there will always be darkness, always be pain. But tonight, there is hope, real, steady, and alive. If you found hope in this story, please like and follow our channel. There are more stories of courage, healing, and the power of loyalty to come. Remember, every act of kindness matters, and every family, chosen or found, deserves a happy ending.